What's good, everybody? We back. We back. I
We
hope you're still.
back.
If
We
you watch
back.
later on YouTube, I'm gonna just do the intro again. It's your man Chris Desir and your man John, and this time we
Yeah.
doing the Chris and John, the state of relationships.
hmm We
I'm
got Libra on the extended too right now.
oh we got yes we do. We got Libra here.
hmm
Ah, you see how time plays out? We were just talking about this. We were just talking about no matter what you do or what happens, the chart is just it's just gonna manifest what's
hmm
happening in the moment. So for us right
hmm
now, we're doing this relationship talk as the ascendant goes into Libra. You can't make this up.
hmm You can engineer it, but you can't make it up.
That's a fact.
hmm Serendipity is a beautiful thing.
Mm,
The serendipity. Let me look up that word. I love that word.
serendipity.
I learned
But I'm
it
gonna let my
in
man
college.
John mainly lead this. I'm gonna just be throwing some side pieces on the line because he has more experience in this than me. Because I know he has research papers, articles, understandings of this
Oh
from all
yeah,
perspectives. So
I'm out pull some shit out on
this gonna
y'all.
be the John show today.
Serendipity, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. We're just having a good conversation. And we end up getting into talking about relationships. And Chris said something very key to me that our master teacher, Ra Ku, has stated about the age of Aquarius and where we are now with I think what the Dwala Shamas.
Yep.
And the Dwala Shama is in Libra. Libra is relationships, negotiating relationships. We want to just stick at relationships right now because it's a few things that go in there. Spouse, other half, best friend, or enemies, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. Now, what I'm going to ask is for Chris to elaborate a little bit more on it so he can catch me a little bit up to speed about the ongoings, how long it's going to be, and things like that. You said, what, 100 years?
I got you. First things first, I need to break this down for everybody in here. We are from the school of cosmophysics. This is not tropical astrology, regular, and this ain't Vedic astrology. So what we use is called the precession of the equinoxes. And our precession time is 20. That means for a precession to happen, it takes 25,920 years. Now let's break that down. What does all that mean? Everybody's been talking about the age of Aquarius. If you're a Vedic person, you still believe we in the age of Pisces. If you're a cosmophysician, if you follow cosmophysics, tropical astrology, we have been in the age of Aquarius. We are still currently in the age of Aquarius. And one age is exactly 2,160 degrees. Or for say to make it simple, 2,160 years. Now you can divide the age up into the 12 zodiac signs. We are currently in the age of Aquarius, and right now we are in, like John said, we're in the Libra sub age in the age of the Aquarius. Each sub age is 180 years. We started being in this Libra sub age in the year 1993.
Whew. Yeah, after I was born. How about that? And that's the beginning. That's the beginning of Gen Z around that time and everything. So it's
Yep.
very interesting. We're
Yes,
seeing these shifts and the
this is
precursors.
This is our war. And now, real quick of a breakdown before I let John goes in. Anytime you enter an age, it does not mean this is the age of love and relationships per se, because Libra is relationships. It could even be love in some instances too. Being in this one, remember, 180-year period of time, being in this 180-year period of time, which you can break down again. You could break it down into 15-year sub cycles. So every 15 or so years, we go into a different thing. So from I'm gonna do the math right now
A
in my
sub cycle of a sub cycle.
yep. So from 1993, let me add 15 years. We were in Libra. Now from 1993, 1193. Nope, I did that wrong. 1993 plus 15. That was the year 2008. You see how and that was the stock market crash and everything. That's how everything
Ooh.
lines up.
Pluto going through Capricorn.
Now let's do another 15. 1 5. 2023. Just last year, we entered into the no, the third. We're in the third now. So it goes Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. And you know what's been a big thing since 2023? Passport bros. I'm gonna leave it right
Ah!
there. I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna throw it over to John.
You
I'm done. I'm
you about
done.
to crack you about to crack this bitch wide open. You about to crack this conversation. Are we going to go there today?
We going everywhere today. We
We
go
go,
wherever you. This is the
oh, about
John
to
show
crash
today.
the
I told
boss.
you. This is the John show today.
Oh,
I just had to
I'm
set the.
about
I
to
had to pass you
stir
the
the
ball,
pot.
bro.
I'm
I
about to
threw you the
stir the pot.
lob. I need you
I'm
to
about
take
to
it to the
purr.
touchdown.
I'm about to stir this pot. Y'all know if you're living and you're not delusional, you know relationships is wild right now. Like they're fucked up. Like it's crazy. Like especially and look, I'm gonna preface this from a cultural context. Um, I'm this is the Afrocentric lens. I would say Afrocentric lens because I've been living the body and the praxis of Pan Africanism and all this other bullshit. I'm not gonna say let me be respectful because I definitely have to handle this with respect because this is probably gonna be here for a while. Um, this Pan African pro black stuff and everything. I've been living and embodying it, whether whatever religion or anything I practice or whatever, it's a cultural thing. You know, I'm black and I'm Panamanian, right? So I'm American and I'm Caribbean, right? And my worldview from America, being in America and being raised Latino, whew, let me tell you, man. I had rose colored glasses on, I myself, for sure. You know, you picking up different mores and things from the 50s and 60s and 70s. My parents were baby boomers, right? So they reared me and they raised me to fall in line to be a husband. Co-currently with the things that's been going on that preceded our time in life and stuff like that. Um, feminism, which is a good. It was actually a good thing for some things until whatever happened, right? And now we looking between feminism, the drug era, and all this mix of stuff, right? Um, shit, I feel like I'm going everywhere already, man. It's so much shit, y'all. Like the dynamics is so everywhere. We're talking about you know how the world is changing. It's not
So,
just
so, so
one
let's
thing.
start it off. I'll give you a
Uh,
guide. I'm
yeah,
gonna
got
be the person who's asking you the questions, pretend like I don't know anything, and we're
uh,
gonna go from there.
cool.
So, question number one is gonna be this: you
Okay.
say that relationships right now are on what they call a decline or is going bad. Like, what statistics, what studies, what do you have to really show that proves that?
Man, relationship ain't on the decline. Relationships on four bricks, nigga. Four bricks. Somebody, came through and took the rims of relationships. This shit's not going nowhere right now. Let me look up. Let me grab some things. Um, one study. Really, right now, the only study I have right now that's I could touch right now. Belief about romantic and mate selection and intention to seek pre or post marital counsel, a latent profile and analysis of emergent adults. When we talk about unrealistic expectations, dissatisfaction, instability, developmental of relational beliefs, theory of planned behavior. I have to read more into this one, but there are a lot of studies out here, y'all, that talk about. Excuse me. If I had it right now on the cuff, we could probably do a part two, and I pull some stuff up,
Yeah.
and we go into what the scientists and them say because we don't want to sit here. We don't want to sit here and sound like angry Negroes. Um, that ain't popping. But the thing is, too, though, the other thing where it's like our voice matter in this because we're participating in this thing. We have a say because we are in fact autonomous. That's what MLK and them was telling us that we were striving for, and I'm leaning all the way into that. So our word, how we feel, and how things go actually matters as along with the woman, and that's where I think I'm coming from too. So you already know for me, right? My son has progressed into Libra, so I am an equal opportunity offender today, y'all. I'm chastising everybody. I'm in everybody. I'm putting my foot up everybody's ass, bro, because it's So, all right. So that answers the question with the study. I have one study right now at hand, but there's other studies I've heard and seen about how life expectancy in relationships for Black men is not a thing. A lot of other stuff about marriage, the duration of marriage, divorce. We could pull statistics. We could pull all this stuff because, like I said, one thing we what is best at everything is us doing this impartial and not sound like achy breaky, heartbroken ass dudes and stuff like that. How come she won't act right? How come she won't love me? You know, why she leave me? All this other bullshit, right? But shit. Give me another question. Keep me on track, bro, because
So you gave that one study, and it really does help. I've heard before that like the divorce rate at some point was like 40% or something like that. I don't know how long ago I heard that study or things of that nature. Too. Have you heard of that before?
yeah, I've heard and a lot of things. I'm gonna say now and try to confirm later. So I'm gonna make all the errors right now. Y'all gonna talk shit about anything I say right now. Yeah, we freely disagree, but when I come back with these numbers and I come back with these stats and studies, we want to have a more thorough conversation. And I'm not here to debate. It's not a debate. You want to debate, you just wait
You can talk.
to
You can talk your talk. We ain't gonna fact check
yeah,
nothing on this page today.
yeah. All right, cool. I'm just not gonna go super unrealistic. I ain't gonna talk about my own delusions, but we want to get there. So, um, the divorce rate had increased and the marriage had decreased. It scissored. So that looks like this, where divorce rate is going up and decline of marriage is going down. Just like the increase of babies born out of wedlock, a lot of that stuff. So here we go right here. Let's start right here because there's another thing that goes into here that make both parties, men and women, to blame for this shit. And I don't want to just go and punch down on feminism and stuff like that. My mom's a feminist. You want to get there later too. But the free love thing and the sexual revolution and all that other stuff, isn't that funny that happened like right before this whole thing going on in the lab, the Walashama of Virgo, free love? Wouldn't that be Leo at the last part of that before it went over? The
Free, it would have been. It could. Okay, here's how it works. Because it could have been that it was under because before Libra is Virgo,
let's
but
do this. Let's do this.
no, I got you.
All right.
Here's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Same way we're in the age of Aquarius right now, and we're in Libra. Under Libra right now, we're in Sagittarius. So before we were in the age of Aquarius still, we were under Libra, but we were in the Leo. We were in the Leo part. So that's why when the age of love stuff started coming about, it would have been around the Leo time under
In,
Virgo
in the 70s.
in the 70s. And again,
Mm-hmm.
15 years later, coming into 93, boom.
Let's see, 83, 82, 81, 80, 79, 78. Because when was the Summer of Love? Like 76?
It would have been, or I honestly, yeah, it would have, let me see. Summer of Love. Let's see if I can Google it. But this whole feminine, talk about more about that, the whole feminism wave.
Feminism, I'm going to say it right here. I don't want nobody thinking I hate women. That's weird. Feminism started off as a way to have women have their word mean something, to have them have a vote, to have them have a voice, to have them, not be in servitude. They were the last in America. They were the last individuals or humans in servitude, and they got tired of all that. They didn't want to just get married and just be second fiddle to someone, right? So Philip B. Anthony and all them made the suffrage movement and voting and stuff like that. But then we had Sojourner Truth come through, black woman, and she had some things to say, but a lot of stuff is left to speculation. We should get some quotes and talk about it because Sojourner Truth was not the second coming. um, she did some great, beautiful things, but I think just like everybody else, how we talk about W.E.B. Du Bois, and we talk about Marcus Garvey, and we talk about Booker T. Booker T. Was it Booker T? No, Booker T. Washington.
Hmm.
All these people, even MLK. We're talking about humans, y'all. We're talking about people who had some things. They didn't have everything. 89%. We can run it off to an A, right? But truthfully, it's still an A minus. But all that to say is that they wasn't everything they said wasn't perfect, or some things have flaws, some things that way to a deviation of things, right? Um, all that to say is that Sojourner Truth wasn't able to accomplish all the things she wanted to, and some of the things that she led with wasn't always the most ideal things, and she was basically suppressed in that way, right? So we had many women who came from our community to advocate for the rights of women, rights for children, and things like that, and everything. But I think a lot of things got disheveled in the '60s, where we at the same time we talking about poverty, we talking about the Moynihan Report and how this man was trying to fix families and stuff like that. We had other forces such as welfare and social workers who, they had a big influence on the decisions that were made to um, make the family brittle by dissecting the man out of the family. And even though men were disenfranchised for the last 500 years or something like that, um, having a person around is way more sufficient than material gain and things like that, because at some point material gain may happen and things like that. But whatever agenda and stuff was happening, it's beyond me. But that set the preset what we have now. We're talking about the 70s, we talking about the summer of love. We also need to talk about, what's going on in the projects and stuff as well, because a lot of love started to, deviate, all the way well to the '80s, where we have the latchkey kids and single moms, and kids being unsupervised and not having no standards, and then boom, he come to drugs. 1982, he come to drugs, and then we get the parents. Yeah, we get the parents who need some alleviation, some moms in them who probably never came back home, because she had stress and them kids and things like that, and then grandmas and all them, even well-meaning men, because not all men were put to the side. We're talking about a small population when we talk about the projects of poverty and stuff like that, because upward mobility after the '50s caused people to be able to do other things and expand and things like that. There was a level of prosperity that happened between civil rights and all the way up to free love and the Moynihan Report, things like that. Small population, but at the same time, here's the other part too. With that small population, I found out by doing research about what was going on in Baltimore, was that when all the people who had the money was able to leave from where they was at, those areas collapsed. And then we had prostitution, we had drug dealing, we had all the gambling and stuff like that, because everybody who was held up by the black economy dipped out and went somewhere where they didn't really have to be where they were. So much came from that. That's where the whole welfare stuff fits in right there and stuff. Where it's like, okay,
So
this man shiftless, he doing whatever, and he don't have to be here. I get to get this money, and I don't have to work. I would have did the same shit.
and it's like it seems like there was a whole slew of combinations of things that all went on at the exact same time that led to this current state of where we are relationship wise, and why us as a generation, because it's one thing to say from the astrological standpoint what it points to. It's another thing to actually explain this is what happened and how it happened for us to get here to that point. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really giving the overview breakdown, and John's really breaking down this is literally what is going on, this is what happened. So let me ask you, so let's fast forward it now, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just tell you how I perceive this thing. I
Mm-hmm.
know little to nothing truly about the manosphere. I've been in red pill spaces before and things of that nature and intent too. And for me, red pill, I think, is a philosophy, and it's about really doing better or having a higher value as a man, doing everything that you can to raise your physical prowess, raise your mental prowess, raise your financial stability. These are all things that I've gotten out of it. But some of these people in the red pill places do come off as hostile towards women. They do come off at certain points in time aggressive towards women in the way that they do. I can't say everybody in this space, but certain people like Robert Green, I think Robert Green is one. I don't remember his particular
Really? The
name.
nigga who wrote 48 Laws of Power?
Not no. Maybe his name wasn't Robert. It was something else. It was something else.
Mm.
I forget the. He was a white guy. He was an old white guy with glasses too. I forget his name though.
Mm.
He he would come out very aggressive towards women, as in, if she doesn't have past the age of 30, she has absolutely no worth, or da 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 da. And it comes off from a politically correct standpoint, as in, attacking. Or even a very famous figure like Kevin Samuels was a person who I'd say helped a lot of people, but he had such a harsh way of dealing with people who did not agree with him, going back and forth in terms of tit for tat with excuses, or not excuses, with what's the word I'm looking for, where we're insults, going back
Mm.
and forth with insults, him cutting people off that would cut him off. Like, he wouldn't play the bigger person role if he didn't need to. He would always, and that would bring in that emotional tie that have both men and women coming back to watching his show. But I'm gonna let you speak because I said a lot.
I I am a person who fell into listening and watching red pill stuff while I was in college, and I didn't really get too much to it because some of the things, excuse me, some things I heard would have made me a man of an unbecoming man of who and how I wanted to form myself. I still listen, but a lot of things. I think the philosophy. I don't know too much, bro. Like, I'm not like, you know like, I've listened and I've seen for a prolonged amount of time, but I've gravitated somewhere else within all that. I would say, in my opinion, red pill is men who came together to learn about all the things they've been going through, and whatever situations and stuff, and chop up game, really, and start understanding the situations they was in. Some people trying to do preventive maintenance on situations because some people are naive, or some people didn't know that it was prey. It was being I don't want to use the word usurp, but you know, being used, in the grosser term. Before I go there, I don't know. I have some other things I want to actually get off my mind. Where it's like, before, like,
And
I,
It was Robert Greene. He wrote The Art of Seduction, and people have had problems with that book.
oh wow. I think, when it comes to stuff like this, bro, and I'm really trying to make sure I don't sound like a prick. It's always something to detest when it comes to stuff like this because it's always subjective and it's person to person, blah blah blah. And the word, only sits. How you say SITHS? Sits.
Only a Sith, yeah, deals in
Yeah,
absolute.
right. So I don't want to. I'm not sitting here making no absolute statements and nothing like that. But it's men who had a bad run with women, and they went to go. Every man don't have a male figure to talk to or talk about. So there were forums and stuff like that where men came around and discussed what it was going on with their life, whether they got cheated on, whether their wife just left them for irreconcilable differences, or whatever dudes was going on. It became uh, uh, um, an internet hotspot for dudes to actually, learn how to not get finessed and fleeced. And not only that, work on being a better version of themselves because I say this right. Men a lot of times get in their own way. That's just what it is, whether it's being ignorant or eating with their eyes or being arrogant, all this other stuff. But I don't know, man. Like it's
Say
I'm still
what you
trying
gotta
to
say.
huh?
Say what you gotta say. Speak it out. Just what I'm saying.
I
This is the
think
platform for that.
I think men get in their own way, but sometimes men have shit that happens to them that they didn't even call or ask for, wasn't even looking to even be in the situation. They get torn out the frame and fucked over. And these dudes, these well-meaning dudes, are looking for, why am I going through this? What's going on? Stuff like that. And then the spaces where people's talking about, oh, this should happen to me. This how it happened, whatever like that. And that's what it is. Now, my thing for me is where I gravitated to is the black manosphere,
Mm.
where they're talking about problems and things like that that is retrofitted to a black man and or Caribbean, African, blah blah blah, all that other stuff because we don't have the same problems. We don't. We really don't. And the beautiful thing, I really I have more I can say about the black manosphere than just the manosphere and stuff like that because I'm black. and
And let's talk about what you know. Since we're talking about it, well, let's get on the
what I
black
know,
man.
it's black manosphere. It's dudes that came together who trying to figure out life and figure out things. It's not just women. We're not just trying to figure out women. Women's a big part because a lot of men love women and they want to be able to have wives and have families and stuff like that. They're trying to understand how to sidestep all the hoes and sidestep all the bullshit that dudes have to go through and things like that. It's all type of different ways and things because everybody's not trying to get married either. Some people got divorced, some people are trying to have a date, some people trying to do all this other stuff. But the beautiful thing about it is that we don't just talk about in that space just like women and stuff like that. We talk about what's going on in the world and how to navigate as a man and things like that. The things that, in my opinion, women aren't really too concerned or talk about, or things that they even don't think that we're concerned about, or boring stuff. We're talking about boring is important, but we talk about all this type of stuff in that environment. I've listened in a lot. I've been able to become a better version of myself through listening and learning things, stuff like that, understanding women and my relationship with them, and getting a lot of the talk that my mom and dad didn't give me, or my aunts and uncles and stuff like that about how all this stuff go. And it changed my reality because, and this is something I actually we was talking about earlier today about how my week and stuff been. I had to wake myself out of my delusion of how things are about. I'm 31 now, and I'm like since I was 9 or 10, I was looking for like my wife or however that go, and I thought my wife would be someone like some destiny stuff, like when you see her and stuff like she's different and all the other stuff and like all this other fantasy shit. And I'm looking, I'm waiting, I'm turning down girls. I'm not talking to certain girls. I'm making myself look stupid so girls wouldn't like me because I'm just like, you not her, and I ain't trying to ruin what I got going on because I got someone coming to my life like some like off some pretty
Some
much
Disney, like some Disney type stuff.
yeah like some arranged marriage, some spiritual arranged marriage, and I get to this age. I've never been married. I don't have any kids, and I'm looking. I'm seeing how things were when I was trying to, peer into who this person may be, and I'm like, for me, I'm 31 now, and I'm just sobering up and seeing how things are. I don't even know if that's going to occur. I don't. It's not going to occur because in my mind, when I rationalize it, if it was supposed to happen, it would have already happened. Like motherfuckers is grown now, so it's different. Where it's like, you know, remember, I also grew up with the notion that you're supposed to grow with someone. I'm grown now, you know, so it really changed my mindset. And I posted something earlier about today's a good day to accept things you can't change, and I've made my errors and mistakes with how I moved around in relationships and stuff like that. But the listening to a lot of stuff about the Black Manosphere put a lot of my perspective I was upset, disappointed, all this other stuff, and now I'm just like, I gotta take things for what it is and how things are, nature of the world, and all that stuff really goes into. I don't think that none of this stuff is coincidental, right? I'm saying this too, right? Whether if people like or love or hate the manosphere or black manosphere or red pill stuff and everything like that, I don't think none of that is in our control. I think all that is really a byproduct of the water shaman that we're in, we being an Asian Aquarius in the sub what you call it, the sub dua
Of
of
Libra.
Libra.
And
Yeah,
now
this
we just entered into Sagittarius now too, which is going to be foreigners, travel,
broadcasting.
broadcasting, talking about this. But it also can point towards too, because I don't want y'all to think that John is preaching gloom and doom, because he's not. A Sagittarius is also happiness, right? It's also
Hmm.
happiness, but it's also too much, doing too much. It could be overdose or too much of something, right? Having this being said, right? From my perspective, a lot of me and John have the same things going on. But for me, from my point of view, I grew up with a very Disney-esque fantasy type mindset of how relationships are going to work. I grew up in a very religious household. I grew up in a household where there were a lot of strict rules. You couldn't be out past a certain time if you weren't with family. You couldn't do certain things. I grew up in a very religious, church-based lifestyle where if you did wrong, you would go to hell. Very, very childlike mindset based
You grew
around.
up with structure.
We grew up with yes, we grew up with structure, but at the same time we weren't taught instructions on how life actually works. We were just put into a scenario and just said, here, if we put them in here and we teach them and we make them follow these
Do
rules,
this. Do
this
this
is
the way I want you to do it.
just do what we tell you to do and don't question us, and it's all going to work out in your favor. So some of the nuances that we didn't get to figure out in life through, the hard way, which I'm still blessed that we didn't have to do, like we didn't have to go over to your friend's house to see their mom or their dad fighting, hitting each other per se, or cracked out on the street or things of that nature. We grew up
We
in.
didn't have to learn. We didn't have to learn through having a child. That having a child before our time is not the best thing to do.
Right. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing that we have to come to understand too. There's a lot of quote unquote blessings that in reality came off to a lot of people. Damn, that was a mistake. I should have waited a bit longer before I got into that scenario situation to understand that, and like now I'm tripping. Okay, to understand that we relationships are not as simple as life or society make it out to be in the movies, in the music, in the TV show. Because anytime you listen to a rap song, a love song is, baby, I'm gonna be with you forever, even though you hurt me, you abuse me, or things like that, or you the dumbest person ever, we can never make it work. It's never that simple. It's never as simple as a song that you listen to. It's never the fairy tale idea or vision in your mind. And a lot of people walking here today, whether they made mistakes or not, still have this fairy tale idea of how a relationship is supposed to work. Some people
Like
are
me.
me too, to a certain extent. We walking around with pre some people are on one end of the extreme where any form of infidelity, any form of lying, any form of anything that does not stand up to my standards, relationship must end. And there are other people at this other end of the spectrum. They can cheat on me as many times as I want. They can dog me out. They can steal my money. They can ransack my house with another man, with another woman, the case may be, and I'm gonna always love them. People are on two ends of the extremes where one, you're too hard and nobody can get to you. I think I'm more on this side than not. And some people on the other side where they let anybody do anything to them and they always get screwed over. And we and Libra again, Libra right here, Libra is balance. This time period, especially since we're going to be going through it, and our kids are going to be going through it, and our grandchildren are going to be going through it, whether or not we're married or not, or you know what I'm saying, are going to
Hmm.
have really come to understand the balancing act that they need to play between, okay, this is something bad, but I can deal with it. Or, this is something good that I'm doing, but I'm really detrimenting my partner. People need to understand and everybody thinks a balanced act means 50-50. Nothing is truly 50-50 in life. You got
Oh man, let's talk about that,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about and nothing
nigga.
is truly 50-50 in this life. Some people got to understand it's a 80-20 split. You got a small block that's worth 20 pounds on one end of the scale, and you got a huge 20 bag pound of feathers on the other end. And nothing is truly equivalent. Some people got to realize you have more than you got more to give than anybody else, so you're gonna be the person just giving more in the relationship. Other people got to play their role and realize you a parasite. Everybody you get with, you gonna be the type of person who always gotta play by their role, play by their rules because they're the one who's really doing it. I'm gonna let John speak on it more uniquely, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, what you just said right now just describe what a bum ass nigga is. We're gonna come back to that later. Okay. We talking about balance, these relationships. So, I wanna, I'm, man, cause I'm thinking about a lot, man, about, excuse me, just things emotionally, things like that. I'm trying to, you know, make it all come out at once. That make it make sense. That these beliefs that we have about relationships and how they are actually, you know, it can be real radical with those changes. Where it's like, that's what one good thing to talk about is trauma.
Mm,
Trauma, right? When we have these ideals and then things happen that's actually the reality of it, but like how we raised in a certain way to have structure to protect us, but it doesn't protect us from the harsh things that really happen to us, and we really don't get an explanation. That's the thing for men and women that happens with trauma, and it's sad. It's always tragic. Yeah, I'm happy I picked up on starting with that because I want to go back and talk about how I've seen things when I was young. I like when I was a baby, and I saw women cry, and it made me sad because I was emotional. I was emoting and stuff like that. When women would go through a level of suffering, it would make me sad because they sad. I used to be the cute baby, and I know what comes with that and how that fostered me to see women and be loving because women loved me. And it made me sad to see women go through things. But I get older, now, and while I'm getting older, I always have the mind that men ain't shit. Men ain't this, men ain't that. Gotta be a better man, gotta do this, that, and third, and everything. I'm striving to do all that. I'm trying to be the type of man, I need to be for this mystical woman to come in my life, and et cetera, and all that other shit. But I start seeing women do fuck shit. I get older, I start seeing all this fuck shit women doing, the shit that they saying, how they feel about men, and shit like that. I'm like, damn, I know we suck, but that's fucked up. It was basically like, men deserve the things that they go through and stuff like that. I'm like, no, who the fuck they don't. And then, that goes into that means men are worthy of trauma, which is asymmetrical as fuck. And I don't think nobody deserves trauma. Excuse me, my bad, I was eating, y'all. Nobody deserves undue trauma.
and I'm gonna speak on that because I'm so glad you brought up that point just there. Because there's a book I audio book. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and it goes into feminism and it goes into that point that you just said right there, where a lot of young men are raised in schools or are taught by teachers that are all feminine when they all grow up, when they first start growing up. Like a majority of teachers nowadays are female versus male, and young boys are slowly but surely conditioned to appeal to whatever a female says or does, and learn or are taught to hate their male counterparts, to hate their male elders, to hate their male older brothers, to hate males in general. But it always comes back to this. For me, I wasn't necessarily, I was always nice. I'm still a nice person today. I have, even though I'm a Virgo rising, I fall under the Duwadasham of Libra, under Virgo. So I'm naturally a nice person in general. But before I knew astrology, I didn't know that. I was always a nice and a quiet kid. I didn't like to cry too much because I always see how people would treat me or teach me or people would treat me. When it came to females in that particular order, I would be afraid to talk to females at some points in time because I'm just like, I don't know how to handle you. You're not a man. As a young child, as a young male, I had an innate understanding of, okay, you're sad right now, but that's not how I deal with it. As a man, I'm trying to relate to you, but in all reality, I am not you. So I can't really relate right now. I didn't have that natural ability as a child. With South Node in Capricorn, South Node in Capricorn would mean, since as a child you always had an ability to be cold or serious, things of that nature and intent. I have my North Node in Cancer, so only now I'm really tapping into my emotions, into my emotional body, and understanding what things like what it really truly means to be softer or care. For me to understand that men can't hate on other men because you are a man. Men do effed up things, but like John said, so do women. Women do effed up things. Sometimes women can do far worse than what a man can do. And sometimes they let one experience with a man determine their entire situation. Or if you ever run into a man who changes his whole entire outlook on life because of one particular woman, you would say that person, you call him a weak man, for
Yeah,
example. But
Trump.
you,
Trump. Let me answer something right there. That
Mhm,
that is a that effect you're talking about is bi-directional.
mhm.
The way that goes, where it's that one experience that make a person say fuck all this shit.
It's gonna be, yeah, it's that trauma, and people need to
Yeah.
understand that throughout life. And this is another thing that the book talks about too. It's
Uh,
not about being perfect. You're going to run into multiple situations throughout your life where you're going to be let down, you're going to be upset, but you as a man need to realize, if you're a man, you need to realize you do have emotions. And this is what I'm saying,
yeah.
it's a balancing act. You got to understand you do have emotions, and you have to be able to be vulnerable, not only with other men, but with other women too, and be able to say, like, hey, I feel this way
Mm.
right now. Don't blame somebody. Don't be like, I feel this way because of you, or because you did this to me, I feel some type of way. No, that's going to start an issue. But if you say,
Right.
I feel mad right now because of X, or I feel sad right now because of Y, that is a better way to put it, to stop you from getting into a fight. And us men need to realize too, females have Aries in the 10th. Females can be, and will be at times, selfish, combative, aggressive, just like a man. Just like a man.
Angry.
Angry. They can have anger too. And what is the old saying? Nothing worse than a woman scorned, or something like that. So it's like,
Hmm.
or when mama ain't happy, nobody ain't happy. All those sayings that we have. It's more important now than it was ever, because with outside forces that we can think of, from the whole feminism wave to the government and its effects on the people, to unresolved generational traumas that don't even have to deal with relationships, have to deal with murders, and, well, let me not say that, with unaliving of people and all these extra things like that. These all,
Post traumatic slavery disorder.
yep, it all plays into these things. But the way that we beat it, the way that you get across it, the way that you do it, is you keep moving forward and you look towards the future. Your tr-
And you
your
don't ignore it. You don't ignore it when it pops its head up.
You don't ignore it, you go through it. It's not running around, it's not trying to dig under the wall, it's not avoidance. It's, you go through the fire, you go through the flame. Grieve, like my man John taught me about this too. If you need to grieve,
Hmm.
allow yourself to grieve. If you are mad, allow yourself to be mad. If you are happy, the amount of times me personally had stopped myself from being happy because I thought I shouldn't be allowed to be happy right now because somebody else is mad at me, or somebody else is sad, or somebody else is something else. For me to deny myself my emotional state as a man will cripple you. For you, as a woman, if you're a woman watching, to deny yourself your ability to be angry, deny yourself the ability to do stuff for yourself in certain periods of time, will cripple you. We
And
this
y'all,
Yeah,
that should make you sick.
for
That
a
should make
fact.
you sick. Emotional strain. Y'all ever seen someone with a permanent like frown on their face? That's years of not dealing with their shit. Imagine what's going on. All that pressure from all those muscles. I think what they say, it take more muscles to frown than smile. And you going through things and you never resolving it. Like relationships aside, we it's still significant. But relationships aside, if you don't deal with your stuff, everything will flow basically into your relationship, into your overall life of well-being. And ultimately, what matters, ultimately, even above relationships, which is talking about, in those spaces and stuff, in the Black Manosphere, stuff like that, is your well being, your sense of self, that self love that's necessary, stuff like that, because you can't even be your best in a relationship if you all fucked up. you know?
And that's the biggest thing people need to understand. I say to get through this age of Libra is self understanding. You have to do self acceptance, self care. The North Node is currently still in the sign of Aries. Is still currently in the sign of Aries for everybody across the world, which is going to mean, what does that mean? This is a point in time in life where destiny is telling you you're on a path where you really need to do things for yourself, be towards yourself. I think honestly, the best thing for people to do right now is to honestly, men and women, stay away from the relationship aspect or portions for like a day, a week, a month, relative to you and your position, right? Stay away for as long as you personally need to get yourself, your head and stuff in order. And
And
once you
here's another one. Oh no, finish.
yeah,
I'm a dove. I mean to disturb you.
to get you I'm about to land it too, to get yourself in order. And if you run into a situation where you need to deal with that past, that stress and trauma, allow yourself to do it. Allow yourself to get into the mat. Don't while out. You know what I'm saying? Don't while out and take it out on somebody. But if you feel mad, go hit a punching bag. Go for a run. Go for a walk. If you feel like crying, go into your room, grab a pillow, scream and cry. Get it out of your system. But yeah,
Yeah, don't hurt nobody unjustly and undoingly. If you want to go spa, go sign the waiver, and go do your thug dizzle, bro. I mean, there's many ways to get your issue off without, undoingly hurting someone, men and women. You know what I'm saying? What I want? Oh yeah, um, do what's best for you is another thing with the Aries part. I mean, especially when it makes sense. There's a lot of things you could do something that doesn't make fucking sense, and it puts you behind. Whatever you plant, that shit gonna grow. So if you know what's best for yourself, you like, I'm gonna move these keys, or I'm gonna do, he said, do what's best for me. I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, do some fuck shit. They ain't gonna call it fuck shit because they ain't gonna see us fuck shit. I ain't saying just it's the difference between doing what you want and doing what's best for you.
yeah,
You know.
that's right. That's a fact.
So that's men and women because people be doing some. We live in an age of Aquarius. Some people do some bizarre shit, and that ain't what it's like. That's kind of. I'm gonna leave that for whatever that is.
Hmm.
That was just turning my opinion. But no, I guess do what's best for you, your health. How you govern your own time. You got 168 hours in a week. You better not be giving it to someone who ain't worth a damn. You know, that's one thing for sure.
But let me ask you though, if
Uh
somebody is in a rough situation with their marriage or things like that, or with their child, and then the mother or father of their child are not in the life and they want to be in their life, like give me some, and you don't need any studies or statistics for this, like give me your own personal guideline, like under what circumstances should a family or a husband and a wife decide, let's go through with the divorce, or should they say, you know what, let's keep this rolling or going. Like, what are some scenarios or situations you could say I'd probably forgive somebody here, or this is a factual scenario where you should forgive somebody, or this is a factual scenario where y'all should like separate ways.
Seek correct therapy. Number one, I'm always advocate for therapy. The etymology of the word therapy is healing. It's a Greek word or Latin word for healing. So when people say therapy, I mean go get some healing. And I was talking last night. Some acquaintances. We were talking about healing because that's such an overused word. But people talking about they're on a continual healing journey for what 1 3 years, which is if that's what it takes. What it takes. But like at some point after that scab does this thing and you scrub it off, and then you just have whatever's over there, stuff like that. I mean, people moving with life type shit. That's what I mean with the healing part. But go see therapy. You know, If the root of everything is all messed up, you might want to seriously reconsider how you navigate in life. Whatever that spells out for you, because I don't know, every situation is subjective, et cetera, et cetera. But if you find out the root of whatever you have going on, you gotta get things by the root. You gotta start handling things at the core things, because you know, that's gonna make a big difference in how things are. And after that, what about the maintenance of things? So what if the root was okay, but how things are maintained isn't going right?
Mm.
Right? Want to go, check on things. And if you don't have things, don't be afraid to ask for help and getting the tools, which is not just therapy, but going to someone who have those life tools, those life skills, those understandings of, what needs to be put in, whatever variable is missing, what can we, put in its place to, be the bridge over troubled waters and stuff like that. A lot of people have problems that is beyond their level of understanding. They say common sense ain't common. I don't even understand what that really means, because you know sense is very subjective. A smart person don't know everything all the time. So I mean, all right, for what it's worth, everybody isn't always you know up to up what's going on, especially if they have a situation such as they have literacy skills, or they have a mental health disorder where they get frustrated when they present a challenge or something like that. They shut down, and you're like, whatever. So they even shut themselves down from arriving at a solution, or even be listening to a solution. So some people have problems they fail to address, or don't have the capacity to address, where they have to build those muscles to sort some shit out. Maybe it's trauma, maybe it's mood, maybe it's emotion. It's subjective, but a lot of things can't be neglected. The things that should be neglected is the most unnecessary stuff. You're going through a situation where it's very unnecessary to emote about, argue about, whatever, whatever, whatever. You gotta. I think it's a cultural thing when we make really unimportant trivial things real big, and it matters a lot, and we have emotional attachments to it. In a lot of cases, not in all cases, but or we have someone who has a lack of value or esteem for someone else, and that can be traumatic and stuff like that. And we go into an argument and advocating for yourself and everything. That's another stuff. At this point, it kind of goes in no particular order, because one thing you should do. It matters. I don't think I have because I'm not like all the way licensed and stuff. I'm going by what I'm knowing, understand at this point, right? So it's not a necessary. I'm realizing something too of advocating for yourself. Sometimes advocating might be the first thing you do, which is, I mean, if you're going to therapy, I mean, I'm assuming you're advocating for yourself. But I can't underscore that enough. Men and women need to advocate for themselves. Sometimes it confuses me when people don't. Men and women. you know, I'm a very extroverted person. I see a problem or issue. I'm like something. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna make a comment. I'm gonna say something, because there's gonna be some straightening. And I think a lot of people in their lives, I think whether they, I don't know. That goes into more speculation when I think about that. But one major thing to do is advocate for yourself, even against to that person. People say communication, which goes into advocate. I think a precursor to advocating for yourself is communication. You feel what I'm saying? So I think all the while, people should be constantly working on the art of communication, which is significant. Whether it's writing, reading, knowing words and things like that, somewhere in that field, because one of the things we do all the time, one of the most significant things is communication in all interpersonal relationships, not just uh, intimate relationships, or intimate partnerships and stuff. But learn how to communicate is significant. I'm learning how to communicate all the time. I still don't know how to talk, but I know how to communicate in a lot of sense, and I think that's important. So you'll be able to have, how can I say, communicating is it's important. I'm trying to really bring the significance of why. I don't think that really speaks for itself, but communicating, as I said, advocating, all the other stuff I said.
And I'm glad you said communication too, because if you look at the age of Aquarius that we're in right now, the fifth house, no, the ninth house of Aquarius is no. The fifth house, yeah, the fifth house of Aquarius is Gemini, and
Mm-hmm.
Gemini is communication. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you in the fifth house, everybody points towards love. If you really, really want to have love, you got to be able to speak. You got to talk about it. Anytime you're gonna be like, no, ain't nothing to talk about, no, and then you just gonna go your separate ways. Even if you end up going your separate ways, talk it out first, so you came to the mutual conclusion. You don't want to die with regret on your mind. Well, what if I said this? Well, what if I said that? If you lay it all on the line and it goes in your favor, hooray, it worked. But if you laid it all out on the line and it doesn't go in your favor, at least you have that off your chest, that you did it, that you spoke about it. You know
That's
what I'm
real.
saying? That's
Yeah,
that.
my bad. Go ahead.
No, I was basically
Uh,
cut it right there.
all right. Well, when you say what you just said, one thing that made me think about that we should actually have a conversation about is ghosting.
Yeah,
You know,
ghosting. Yeah.
because ghost is a Pisces thing. When we're talking about communication, ghosting is just a term that we use for, the complete, severance of communication, which is an Aquarius thing when you think about it, because obviously love is indifferent.
Hmm.
And I heard from indigenous, practitioner, hell's where God don't hear you. So that's what I thought about when you said that. But I want to talk about, like, for me at least, my whole experience of where I am now with things, and it really did. It wasn't a whole. It was a thing I did for myself. It wasn't like, got it from Master and stuff like that and everything like that. I got some game from it, but what I did was, I credit myself, pat myself in the back 2 times. Boom. So, um, it was the whole thing about the woman of my dreams. And when you know it, I see a woman that looked like a girl that was from my dream. Had a woman of my dream. And that's why I kind of like held this space in my life for this woman, because I was already, for, wanting for myself marriage and stuff like that. All that stuff significant to me, family, et cetera, et cetera. So I did my utmost to do it right, you know, not being slow or wild and everything like that. And I thought I met her when I was in school, because she looked like I had this dream. I don't know if premonition. I don't know if I was just, a dream was just a dream or whatever, whatever, whatever. But came into contact with a person who actually resembled her. And I shot all 3 years. And it was difficult because she had an accent that was very rough. So it was kind of like, also didn't want to, like, I don't know, argue or anything like that. I got Mars and Gemini stuff like that. But I still try to find a way to kind of like put it out there. Because whether I have the timidness or whatever, 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 I ain't scared. I'm just timid, trying to express that stuff like that, because not only that, it was so significant to me and stuff like that, that I guess it drew a little bit of, I guess, excitement or awe or something like that. I think I was an awe, maybe. Maybe that's just what it was. But when you say to even put yourself out there, do the best you can to communicate stuff like that, whether or not, I know I can move forward with knowing that I gave my best foot forward on that, and that this whole ideal delusion thing and everything like that is, it's the past. For me, it's the past. And like how you said, you want to get over the past, don't look back. But I can look back knowing that I wasn't really like, I can't. It's no regret. Part of me
That
is regret.
and that's the
Uh,
part. That's the part too. No regret. Honestly,
yeah.
because I didn't start off. That's what I'm saying. It ain't perfect when you started off. It'll never be perfect. The book, one of the books that I read called Psycho Cybernetics, right?
Hmm.
It one of the topics it says is, if you can't necessarily dream or think of a positive future, the first thing you got to try then is look at your past and only think and remember the good times only. Like,
Oh,
start and only, if you're gonna reminisce about the past, don't reminisce about the bad times with that person. Don't reminisce about the bad times that happened in between. Reminisce about all the best moments that bring you all the happiness and generate that happiness as if it's happening right here, right now.
mm. Damn, that made my aura glow. But yeah, for real, man. And I'm just like, um, my thing is where I had a regret, but it wasn't really a regret at the time that I could have been, be in a parallel universe, just living according to how I've learned to see how life is. And I'm still learning and unfolding that. Like one of the things I learned that you know, it let me try to describe how it made me feel. It's not heavy. It's like a 5 pound weight. It's not like a crushing, it's not crushing my dreams or whatever like that. But I really feel it when I think about it. I realize that where we at right now in this time, it's likely that, relationships aren't that terminal, if I could say that. Some are. Like, I think the true, really, and this is where I get to with this Libra shit, right? I think the true marriage is having children.
Mm.
To me, the true marriage or union is having children. You got Scorpio in the second house, which is procreative sex. So, that's where I'm at with it. And I don't know if that necessarily is what's it called? How you want to say destiny? I think some of it's karma. Some of it's the product of a bad decision that probably wouldn't have had to be made, but it was made anyway. So it can, people are subject to having people in their lives that isn't necessarily destiny, in my opinion, the way I see it. You know.
I see it the way I see it too is kind of a combination of both, because my whole like outlook on life, I guess you could say philosophy, is the astrology is the grand scheme of everything, but the
Mm.
living in the moment is our view of the grand scheme of everything. So no matter what happens in your life, when you go back to look at the chart, it's gonna show what's gonna happen. It's gonna pop up a variation of the transit that's gonna show what happened to you. So when you
But
casting, so you might as well cast. If you look at the chart for like a year from now and you're trying to make a future prediction, you could manifest in the moment. All right, this Venus is gonna mean this. This Mars is gonna mean that. This is gonna be there, because it's the context of the situation that you are in that is gonna apply towards how the astrologer is going to calculate whether or not you're gonna have a good day or a bad day. Like, for example, we have certain placements in an astrology chart that will indicate death. It will indicate for a fact there's going to be a death to you, a family member, whatever the case may be.
let,
And I
let's
have
let's let, let, let's take it a step further. Some actual, you know,
hold up,
it's more pro.
I got you. Let me just land it real quick, because I
Uh,
feel like this is something people got to know too.
cool.
I have read the chart of a person who actually did die, but guess what? They actually resuscitated and came back to life. How am I supposed to know
Hmm.
that when that death pops up in your chart is going to be a permanent death? That person
Ne-
did, for a fact, legally die, but they came back. So it's like,
mm,
hey, this universe is, we are forever living in the moment. You will not know what that chart means until the moment that it happens. So don't ever count yourself out, because there are higher forces at play that we cannot necessarily see with our perception, but we, as long as you are moving in a direction that you want to move, they'll move with you. I'll say it like that.
hey yo, this nigga spitting. I didn't even know you was gonna lean with that. I just let the forces take its course, man. I'm just a peon. I'm trying to live for eons, man. I'm just, but nah, man. I was gonna say let's take it a step lower and more probable kind of being, I guess a easier reach to
Okay.
describe. Because where you went, you took it up to heaven with that. I'm
I
like,
went to the
damn,
moon.
nothing is guaranteed, even death. All right, that's some shit to think about. So, uh, with not just indicating death, but pain. Mars and Saturn, those Maleficent, you know, it's very interesting, because it's not always, it's hot, sharp, pointy, stuff like that. But even somatically, sharp pains, you know, tightness, you know, um, it's substratus. That's another thing I think we should get into on another subject is the substratus. I should write that shit down. That shit fire. The substratus I'm writing that shit down right now. Hey, man, look, the substratus of astrology. The physiological, the psychological, all the other stuff. We're talking about actually seeing, definitions of experience, which is somatic, 100%. But we're also indicating pain. Cause we're talking about scars, we're talking about injuries and things like that too, on the medical aspect. So
You asking me a question?
no, that was a statement. I was
Oh,
saying
bet,
that
bet, bet.
like even taking a step further for I figure you was taking things and stuff like that. Looking at excuse me. The I just indicated like death or whatever like that was standard death, even if it's for a moment. The injuries, Mars, Saturn, and where
And
they're placed in the chart.
and even if it does come about, just remember, you're gonna face more L's than you will W's. But the law of compounding, once you start taking the few W's that you do take, is gonna be worth all the L's that it was worth. But let me say this too. Since I know you can talk about this, and we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, let's go back to passport bros.
Mm-hmm.
So with this culture, this is what I know of passport bros. There are men who got the ability to get their passports, go to other countries, and look for wives. This is as far as I know. And I've heard
Mm-hmm.
and I've been in some chats before where women have had backlash on men because of that. Like, what's your whole take on that situation?
My dad was a passport bro. My dad was a passport bro. He just came to America with it. Like, what you mean? Like, you know? Nah, my dad and my family came over and stuff like that, but he ended up making a family and stuff staying here. But I think it's intention. Intention is a big part of it. If you plan to be a fuckboy in another country, that's just what the child's going to be. You just a dual passport who just will fuck shit across the world. You're international. You ain't no international player. You're an international fuckboy. So, I mean, there's other people who really genuinely seek out family. That's something that there are men out here who are reared to be in a husband role, and not even in like the patriarchy sense. Like all this. Look, I didn't even know or understood any patriarchy shit till I got older, and I'm starting to get interested with the patriarchy, matriarchy shit, things like that. People aren't even meant to be ruled over like that. First of all, I maybe for the well-being of people and shit like that, we start getting into all this control and everything, all this other stuff and everything. That's a whole clusterfuck of shit. I'm leave right there. The passport bro shit is interesting because there's men out here who wants to actually find, I say like someone that they want to build a family with. They're family minded, and it's like ain't no family shit going on around like that. Really, like the mores stuff of family, since all those things mentioned before, that shit took a sledgehammer to the family structure. Family structure kind of like a band a little bit, in my opinion. You know, not all the way around, but a significant a significant portion. So I think these dudes are being proactive. You know, going to find someone who's been grown, or not even just I don't want to use the word grown, who's been I could use the word socialized at the neutral state of it, or has been acculturated. And one word that really killed me, bro. The
What?
one word that really killed me is submission.
So
But then that's what make the whole matriarchy patriarchy shit fucked up because they're looking to submit. So I used to wrestle, bro. Submission takes like that's what I'm like. I don't even, yo, I swear, look, nah, I'm good on that. I'm like, cooperation is so important. It's so important. In any type of interpersonal relationship, cooperation, cohesion is important. When you're talking about building a life or raising a child or whatever other things, it takes a lot of cooperation. It takes a little bit of deliberation, which is also Libra. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think people are looking for how to actually deliberate and actually, you know, have say so or have stake in whatever, partnership or whatever they're going with. Problem is a lot of people don't even have the maturity or the cultural, installations of those things or, even the care. You even think why any of this shit's important. you know? I'm like, the passport bro shit is not new. It just so happened it's like it so happened that when men who actually benefited from what's been going on for the last 40, 50 years from, you know, black communities or from this Afrocentric culture. I would just say it like the Afrocentric. That just covers everybody. Um, it's I don't want to say, the effort to cop block. I don't want to use the word cop block for real, but that same type of goaltender. That's better. Goaltender. You know, like this whole thing about control of people and what they want, interfering with people's happiness. I think that's where I get off the bus at. Interfering with motherfuckers' happiness. I think that's in the Constitution. But people interfering with black men's what you call it? Pursue the happiness and stuff like that. That's just that's just strong, man. Be in the way. And I mean, family makes some men happy. Some men understand the the value of happiness. I mean, what that does for the best for a lot of people and stuff like that. Women do too. But it so happened in this genre category we were talking about, it's that's not a widespread thing. And the other part we have to get to is where it's disheartening for women is this more women than men. We talk about heterosexual stuff and everything like that. We all do the numbers about how everybody, segment to whatever subculture or orientation or whatever they are. But Father, see that that's the issue at hand. So more men leaving things like that because it's just like a lot of dudes have their opinion about family structure, how it's supposed to be with it and stuff like that. And I would suppose that would be everyone win best case scenario thing. Sometimes it's not. That's unfortunate. And those relationships should be, I pray the best for any type of dismantlement for the need of the best for children and family and stuff like that. But a lot of I don't know what I'm getting at with this. A lot of men who's doing this passport shit, I would hope they're going to go find a woman stuff like that. I mean, a lot of people say if you're a loser one place, you're going to be a loser everywhere. So I don't think it's for everybody and things like that.
Yeah,
I think people should travel in the first place, but
there's karma in that too. Like if you really are the type of person who's just going there to sleep with other women and things like that, you might mess around, get involved with the wrong one, and you may not have your passport anymore. Or somebody might just catch you at the airport and be like, oh, we're gonna kidnap you real quick. You see what I'm saying? Like
oh, fuck around and get one of them Asian demons to be sitting on your TV when you get back home. Yeah.
so people need to understand everything comes with a price. No one is perfect. We are bound to make mistakes. But as long as these are my closing words, at least, if you look forward, right, remember only the good times until you sooner or later only could look towards the future, right? Do put in the work every single day. This kind of is a carryover from last stream. Put in that
Okay.
work, right? And when it comes
Mm.
towards your relationships, do everything you need to do to balance yourself out first. Do for self first. If you take care of yourself first, you're gonna naturally have the ability to be able to take care of another person, including a spouse and even a child or a couple of children. But if you allow yourself to um, be taken over by your traumas, by your fears, by past things that have happened to you, you let your situation run you or control you, then you're not truly in control of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I will also say I can understand sometimes things will be overwhelming and things like that. So, I mean, that also has to be in consideration too. But my closing statement and stuff like that, man, it's interesting to see how all this shit, comes together and how we live in the age and the time, what's going on during this time. And these things is kind of like, at least for me, what's the word I want to use? Ubiquitous, kind of like littered around reality, and this is one of the things I want to actually like sit down and look more into because I've actually looked at like this. It's it's not arbitrary. Like we bring up these internet spaces and stuff like that and everything going on. You talk about internet, yo, think about it, internet relationships and the broadcast and other stuff like that. Aquarius, Libra, Sagittarius. So that's some shit.
That's that pure air sign. That's that pure masculine energy happening right there.
Yeah,
And
yeah, man.
it's gonna be like that until 2038. So if y'all think this is gonna stop,
Sheesh.
no, this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.
Man, look, from 2008 all the way to what, the earlier this year and stuff like that, looking at everything going on, financial stuff like that. I think it's going to be shifts and changes and stuff like that in that sense. But also, think about the other part of yo, the funniest shit is the funniest shit. So this lady, she go around, we not going to say no names or whatever like that, but she walk around saying sprinkle, sprinkle. And a few weeks later, out the genius of some man, he came back and talked about drizzle, drizzle. Which is the most hilarious shit to me right now. Like it's not the most hilarious shit to me, but it's like the most hilarious shit that came out of nowhere. Like, listen to what they was talking about. Really listen to like what they were saying, things like that.
Let's talk about it. We might as well since we're here. What
Uh,
is drizzle? I kind of heard of it, but I wasn't really paying attention to it.
Drizzle drizzle to me is men acknowledging the changes and the leaps and the success of women and things like that, economically, educationally, um, career wise, stuff like that. It's like okay. So now, one of the interesting things I learned about that I didn't know about what was going on with the feminist movement and women was they wasn't allowed to get bigger. That struck me, and that kind of had me give a little a little bit understanding of what the push was, you know, and part of where things were going. But it's like now it's like okay, cool, got all that going on. You're able to maintain, do all that stuff and everything, and stop and still want a relationship, things like that. That's a beautiful thing. But now you can't, you can't, you can't, how can I say it? You can't do two things at once.
Mm.
Now, now, now you kind of, trying to load on things. You're trying to put a second load, which is like a litany of things next to a whole nother litany of things without any conversation or any time. Actually, the way it's looking is with the modification and the removal of certain things off the litany of things going to deficit, which I think is one of the pushes for dudes to be like, you know what, things would be simpler somewhere else. Men that smart and sane who's like, okay, if I'm trying to do this, this might not happen this way because other things going on against what I have going on. There's other things I named, you ain't gonna get into all that. That's being I'm trying to be topical, but also thorough. And the drizzle thing is like, okay, well, we're not going to just do 50-50, or the fact that we even talk about 50-50 means this becomes at least 50-50. We're gonna put a little bracket of what we want, how we want things going down and stuff like that. And a lot of it was a joke. But the way that the reaction was, you ever threw water on grease? That's kind of like how a lot of the reactions to the videos were. They started calling dudes sassy because they want self care. They also, want to be poured into or whatever you want to, call that. Very funny shit. But the way that it was like, how like you play with a kid who's scared of something, and like it's traumatic, of course, but it's like they scared of something imaginary, and they get the biggest reaction, like, or you like, mom coming in the house, and someone's like, they just scrambling. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's I think was the same reaction with the whole drizzle thing, stuff like that, where it's like, how dare you have something to say? How dare you have? Another thing that's interesting is the whole idea in the conversation about worth and value. I think that's what I was getting at with the whole thing about the economic affairs of relationship and stuff like that. How they call, which I kind of like a little bit squeamish about with calling the dating a market or whatever like that. Because going to economics, commodifying relationships, all that shit. Right? But nevertheless, we still talk about resources and we can get married, things like that. One of the things you do, second house, Scorpio, share resources. And I think probably a lot of that is where a lot of the schism is. It's cool you pay for, but I ain't really feel like paying for it. So we're gonna go around everything else we need to pay for. That's the problem. And it's not like every woman's like that, of course, like that, because there's women generous, things like that. We're talking about the ones that are not. And the other type of woman who kind of, is in that spectrum of, you know, that type of demeanor. Um, where can I go with that? I think that's a lot of the contention with the whole drizzle thing. It's funny. You gotta see it for yourself. It's just I don't even know any. I can't even do any impressions of it right now. But like,
So it's just a joke that people took a little bit too far.
no, they didn't even take it far. They took it too serious.
They took it, yeah, too serious. That's what I meant to say. They took a
But then,
little
but then,
too serious.
but there was some truth in what they said too. That's the other part where it's like, yeah, they had a very visceral reaction. The people who actually like, responded, blah blah blah. How they took it. But there's a lot of truth in what's being said, and a lot of things they said was not necessarily toxic, which is a whole nother thing. We just keep we talked about trauma. We didn't talk about the toxic, excuse me, the toxicity stuff. That deserves shoot, excuse me. That deserves the conversation.
Yep.
It's so maleficent, bro. It's so like the talking shit so maleficent, and it's like when I was younger in my development, when I saw how women chose the type of dudes they dealt with, stuff like that. It it's girls choose all type of dudes, stuff like that. But one from my environment, how things were on the normal occasion, stuff like that. Um, choice men were what I say, not structured, belligerent, whatever like that. Somewhere amongst, you know, whatever. And it would what I mean, same thing it would be when I was younger, looking at the tragedy of the relationship and shit like that. But the toxicity, like we talk about um these relationships that people grew up seeing, and these norms and stuff like that and everything, and people are running towards it. It's like, hey, you ever ran towards a grenade? Like that's what I see a lot of it going down, where people are running, like you running towards a grenade. Like, man, what? In the relationships, it's like, so I don't know where to go from that, because that just popped in my head. I'm just like that kind of how it been living. Like I was saying something significant. I was still saying something significant, but I was hmm.
But
What
yeah,
the fuck was I was saying?
I'd
Uh,
say because we got like 6 minutes. We got like a couple minutes left. But let's see what I wanted to say. And it's
uh,
like I do see a dilemma in society too, where what is really, 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 really bad for you is what everybody wants. Like in theory, the woman with tattoos, multiple children, a bad attitude is not the woman that you want to get with, but the one benefit, multiple men that have been with her, which could also be a detriment, say that, you know, the sex is amazing. That's like enough. And vice versa with Pookie Bear. And it makes sense in a sense too, because if you think in an astrological standpoint, the 10th house, or the greatest accomplishment for humanity in its most barbaric sense, is sex. Is the ability to procreate, or to have the doing the action that can cause procreation. So technically, they're using astrology correctly, or the astrology is playing out correctly, but it's playing out in a more negative manner versus,
Shit, you just blew my mind with that.
it's playing out in the more negative. I can't even say negative, in the more, because Raku broke it down to me a particular way, and I forgot exactly how he said it. It's like the in the most babyish understanding of scorpionic energy, which is,
Okay.
yeah, which is just pure and raw sex, versus, you go to a higher level, it has to deal with transformations. You go into a higher level, it has to do with life, the understanding of life in general. So of course the
Yeah.
majority of people are going to appeal to, what is considered, the easiest thing to grasp, or comprehend. But at the same time, that is what leads to a lot of the destruction on our level. And again, certain people are,
You mean the shit fires?
yep.
Yo, man, and shoot, I was about to hop in. I had something to say. Shoot, um, you was talking about Scorpio. Oh, that's what it was. You didn't say about Barrett. One thing I thought about is the at the primal level.
Mm,
You talking about how people get down on the primal level. It's like they throw the grenade and run towards it.
yep.
Yo, grenade, dude, where you going? Yo, it's it bring me to tears, bro. Like you know, in both instances, like I said, like it's just a bi-directional thing. Ain't like, and that's another thing where that's why I'm kind of you know staying offish on a lot of things where I'm locking foot for everything going on with what's going on with the internet, stuff like that, is because I think a lot of parts of the one thing I do like that I've heard from the Black Manosphere is the concept of bi-directional stuff. You know, it's hard to for me. It's hard to love and also not care at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
So it's like the shit's just hard. All the other stuff I go with it, all make it break it hard, all that other shit. But you know, it's just bi-directional. That kind of you know that it's like playing a game and you get on a new board, and now you're not even on a new board, just like a wider map open up of what's, I mean, what's what on this whole relationship stuff, man.
Yeah. And let's see, anything else that I got to say? um nah, I think for this week we tapped out, or I'm
Yeah,
tapped out.
definitely tap. I really have to, I probably sit around, reflect, and think about a lot of this more because it's, I mean, this is an hour, longer than an hour conversation, really. And there's way more other things to really, I guess, peel through. So it definitely, I'm definitely marinating on this and stuff like that.
Most definitely. Hold on. And I hope everybody enjoyed this stream and the one we did before, because both of them were fire. Both of them were just fire. This is probably the longest double session that we've had in a while. So hey, we giving you that content. We making time for it. Don't say that we not, especially when we
Yeah, we
are.
said we did 90 minutes. I wasn't even looking at my phone. I went for a walk. And
We did 2 sets of 90 minutes, bro.
yo, man. All right, we're getting our weight up. I just gotta make sure my thing, and I'll say it out loud. Communication is a constant. It takes constant practice and art. So, that's the most right there.
But hey, I hope y'all enjoyed, and we're gonna catch y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.